Report from the RAND Corporation reveals it could be just 2 months until the country gets nuclear ability. Meanwhile, President Obama seems intent on sharing U.S. missile defense secrets with Russia, a country that has helped Iran's nuke missile programs as well as their energy programs in the past, according to declassified memos. What does this mean for our national security, and why aren't we talking about it? Let's talk to someone who wants to talk about it. He's the newest senator from Illinois, Senator Mark Kirk, with a rich military background. Senator Kirk, you know about declassified memos that shows the Russians are helping them with a missile program, right?
That's right. In a very low-profile way, the administration has admitted that they know that Russia is helping both the nuclear and missile programs of Iran, which is why it's so confusing that the Obama administration is also talking about sharing our missile defense data and secrets with the Russians, even though the Russians are helping the Iranians.
Which is incredible. So we take down our missile shield, and now, before we put it back up, we promise to share our missile defense technology with them, and we know they have almost negligible of a program. Now, Senator, we've heard people at home say we keep hearing the Iranians going to get nuclear weapons, but it doesn't seem to happen. Why should we believe now that it's 2 months away?
Because according to the UN IAEA, they are accelerating their refinement of uranium. They are putting new centrifuges online. And on May 8th, the Russians helped the Iranians start their civilian nuclear reactor at Bushehr, so that now the Iranians are producing plutonium in their country as well as enriched uranium.
You know, I also saw in the lead editorial for the New York Times today, even they write, the IAEA has concluded there's 7 possible military dimensions to their civilian nuclear energy program. So the IAEA has finally sobered up to the reality in which George Bush has been trying to get everyone to understand during his 8 years in office.
I'm concerned that the Obama administration is more worried about zoning issues in Jerusalem than the Iranians making a nuclear weapon. And all indications are that they're getting close. This is a titanic shift in power in the Middle East. And I think we should talk less about Anthony Weiner. And even the coverage of the Arab Spring has not been terribly focused on what I regard as the #1 national security threat, not just to the United States, but to our allies in Israel, which is the Iranian nuclear program.
And I hate to tell you, Saudi Arabia is probably more concerned about anyone. They're in a death match with the Iranians. If you saw the way the OPEC meeting went, those two are staring each other down. Where are our Middle East allies on this?
I think they're very concerned. They originally thought that the U.S. would have a strong hand putting crippling sanctions in place. But now what we see is the Iranians are handling the sanctions fairly well. In fact, last year, the Iranian economy grew faster than the U.S. economy. And so I think the Arab countries are beginning to think about building nuclear weapons of their own because the U.S. is so weak.
And I just wonder how Israel is going to take this news. And I was originally hopeful that this worm that got into their system 2 separate times would bring its program to its knees. I guess that's not the case anymore?
No, the Stuxnet was very capable and set them back somewhat. But this new data shows the Iranians have now dealt with that. They're accelerating in their production of enriched uranium. That's why we also have to back the missile defense program of our allies in Israel, because unless we get a handle on this, we are going to see nuclear weapons throughout the Middle East.
What are you doing about it?
Well, I think we need crippling sanctions. The president signed a sanctions bill in 2010, but he's hardly sanctioned anyone. Most of the entities that he's gone after already under sanctions from other regimes. So we put in new bipartisan legislation, Senator Menendez, Senator Kyle, to force crippling sanctions against Iran, which currently are not in place.
Well, at least you got bipartisan support there. Maybe the president will pay attention.
You bet.
Senator Mark Kirk, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
All right, coming up straight ahead. Why does